So I'm probably the 500th person to put his 2 cents on this topic. Bryce Young this week got benched for Andy Dalton. People were talking about it. I heard it on the radio. I saw the thumbnails on YouTube. Is this the end for Bryce Young? His career is over. I see Stephen A. Smith's annoying ass on the thumbnail for ESPN. He's the worst number one overall pick I've ever seen. Of course he'd say that. Really? Really? He's the worst number one overall pick that you have ever seen? So when someone else gets drafted as number one and he doesn't perform very well, will he be the worst number one overall pick that you have ever seen? The media loves to do that shit, especially ESPN. This guy's the greatest of all time because he threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This guy's the worst player of all time because he threw 2 interceptions before 2:10 in the afternoon. There's always some stupid ass stat that goes along with that as well. Since the benching, some people have come out and supported Bryce Young. LeBron James put out a tweet. Bryce Young, hold your head up, young king. Rooting for you, and you know this ain't on you. Continue to put the work in and it shall prevail. Then Baker Mayfield, someone who would know about being in some quarterback controversy and being looked at as a bust. A lot of the time, guys have the talent, they might have the brains, but they don't have the right opportunity, the right fit. Mayfield said at a press conference, I'm sitting here right now in a way better fit than the other places I've been. That's not to put the other teams down, but it's a matter of the pieces around you, the coaches. For Bryce, a guy I can relate to, this finding that belief within yourself again, he'll get it. His story is far, far from finished. And pretty much what he said is how I feel about Bryce. And I made a video before the season started this past off season about Bryce Young, and I said that I don't think he's a bust because he is a rookie. This is his first year. The offensive line was terrible at protecting him last season. There used to be a time when quarterbacks had time to develop. They were given a chance to play in the NFL. I've never thought that a player should be criticized after his first 2 years in the league. Now, if the roster is not very good that's around him, then that's another story. But if the roster is decent at least, then I think a player should get criticism going into his 3rd year in the league. But nowadays, people just expect these quarterbacks to just go out there and make things fantastic again. Turn a shitty situation into a great situation. Go from shit and diarrhea to sunshine and roses. Well, right now, Bryce Young is in a shitty and diarrhea situation, okay? The Panthers are a mess overall. The talent, the little bit of talent that they had left, Brian Burns is gone. Frankie Louvu is gone. Dante Jackson is gone. Moore is gone. So you give away the playmakers that you had. I mean, Shaq Thompson, he's still there. God bless his soul. He's still playing for this franchise that is discombobulated. So you give away the playmakers that you had, and that makes it even harder on Bryce. Who stands out on the Panthers? Who stands out on the defensive line? Jadeveon Clowney looked good last season in Baltimore, but he's kind of getting up there in age. He's 31 years old. He hasn't really made too much of an impact. The wide receiving core. Who stands out in the wide receiving core? DBs. Nobody. The offensive line, when Bryce Young has had to hold the ball and find a wide open receiver, I think they have done a good job at giving him clean pockets to work with and to throw from. But again, the Panthers overall are just not playing well. Against New Orleans, they gave up 180 yards on the ground, 200 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. The tackling was poor in that game. I think they should have gotten a experienced head coach that has had head coaching experience in the NFL, a guy that has had experience working with young quarterbacks to be the head coach for the Panthers. When I look at this offense, I don't think Dave Canellis knows what he wants to do with Bryce Young. There was a play against the Saints where he was in the shotgun and there were 3 receivers on the left. Everybody went to the left side, including the offensive line, and Willie Gay Jr. runs free at Bryce. Bryce Young, it looks like, I don't know what it was, but Bryce even looked confused. It looked like a design run for Bryce to go to the left, but Willie Gay Jr. was running at him unblocked. What are you doing? And then they called a play action play when they didn't really establish a true running game. So the Saints didn't fall for that. Bryce got sacked 4 times. 3 of those sacks came against the same player, Alontae Taylor. 2 of them, he came in unblocked. And you also had him push the ball down the field, going 4 wide, 5 wide. Another play that comes to mind, Bryce is in the shotgun. A tight end and a wide receiver, they both run into the middle of the field. Bryce tries to get it to, I don't know who he's trying to throw it to, but they're both running into the middle of the field. So you got routes crashing into one another. Now, granted, Bryce still should not have thrown that ball, but a wide receiver and a tight end running into the same area. And then against the Chargers, you're like, okay, let's try and make things simple. You have him check it down, give him these easy completions. The Chargers weren't really falling for that because they don't really respect Bryce Young's throwing ability. The Chargers didn't really fall for that. They were playing close up on the receivers the entire game. Our receivers weren't really capable of getting yards after the catch. Right now, to me, Dave Canellis hasn't really done a good job with Bryce, along with the rest of that coaching staff. I think they should have gotten someone more experienced that has had head coaching experience. The benching of Bryce Young, was it fair? Not really, because he got benched because he isn't playing well and the Panthers are losing, so let's put it all on Bryce. So if we bench Bryce Young, things will get better, right? It wasn't really fair to Bryce, but will it benefit Bryce? Yes. I think the Panthers should keep Bryce Young benched for the rest of the season. Keep his ass on the bench for the rest of the season. Let him watch and learn behind Andy Dalton, okay? Andy Dalton, is he a former MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback? No. But the man has been in the league since 2011, and he's played in some big time games. He's been to the playoffs. He's had some good moments in his career. So I think he knows a thing or two about being a quarterback in the NFL and what you need to do to be successful. So keep Bryce Young on the bench for the rest of the season. Let Andy Dalton be the starter. Have Bryce Young work on his craft. Let Andy Dalton work with him. Some of the other coaches work with Bryce Young as well. Teach him how to go through his reads because he keeps his head to one side of the field. Work on his pocket awareness and not be so quick to bail when the pocket breaks down a little bit. Do a better job at throwing guys open, making tough throws, being more accurate, throwing it in between zone coverage. So I think the benching of Bryce Young can benefit him down the road. And while he's on the bench, the front office needs to figure out a way to build a team around him. Start doing some research on who's going to be a free agent and start thinking of some ways on how you're going to be able to sign those free agents that can benefit your team. And then look at the draft. Who can help make this team great? Find Bryce Young a reliable target that he can throw to. Get him a Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown. Give him a number 1 target. All right? Find him some guys who can get after the quarterback. Strengthen that secondary. Build a team around him while he's on the bench. Okay? So when he comes back, he'll have a better chance of being successful. So that's just my take. Just want to give my thoughts on it. If anyone comes across this video, please share your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. That is it. I am out. Have a nice day.